if your specific person is not opening themselves up emotionally, in this video you understand the reason of why that is and how you can let it go, how you can let go of the resistance that you hold within your mind that pushes them away. And all of this, my friend, it's totally unconscious, so you're not the one to blame. But together in this video, if you stay with me, we'll actually investigate what is this resistance, what is the story that your mind might have created that is pushing away your specific person unconsciously, that is making them resistant, that is like restricting them from opening themselves up to you and like allowing the relationship you have together to move forward. So because it's always like that, other people are us pushed out, right? This is what Neville states. And so when other people, if other people are us pushed out, this means that we are unconsciously putting other people in a situation, in like a dynamic that we have with them that we don't like, but it is ourselves who are creating that dynamic. And so now in this video we will contemplate what is the story in your mind that you have of your own specific person that might be pushing them away and not making them emotionally available. So here is what I realized, and then I will show you exactly, I will explain to you what is the story that I experienced and how I'm letting go of that resistance that I was holding in my mind. So here's what I realized. Your attachment to what you want from your specific person and the story that your mind has created of who you need to be to make them like you is keeping them at bay, is keeping them at bay emotionally. So they're not emotionally opening up because of the story that you hold within your mind of who you need to be to make them like you. And honestly, my friend, this is actually a form of manipulation, but it's what all of us do. It's like it's we as humans are so innocent in in the way our mind operates, and so this is why it's important through our self-awareness journey to take responsibility of those behaviors and those like stories that our mind unconsciously creates. So let me share with you a story of what I experienced and how I realized that. So in the relationship that I'm exploring the potential of a relationship with my specific person, and so like what I've realized is that I am the one being more committed and the one who is investing more in the relationship, and so she's a little bit emotionally distant. And so I was contemplating of why this is happening, and like when we were spending time together, when we were communicating, I found myself that I was always wanting to be right. I was too attached to being right and being an authority in like many of the conversations and topics that we had. And it was really strange because this is what actually was pushing her away. And she told me that honestly. And so then I started investigating within myself. Like I started um, observing how I feel about that, and then trying to understand, okay, why am I attached to always being right, which I know is not what she wants. And like obviously nobody wants to be around people who always tend to be right, who are attached to always being right, because this way we're being disrespectful to other people's point of view and like yeah, generally other people's perception. But so anyways, I found myself attached to this kind of behavior, and then eventually I started investigating this feeling. And so the feeling led me of the moment I attracted her into my life. And so like she was a perfect reflection of a vision I created of what I want from my specific person, and then eventually she appeared in my life. But it was a really fun, it's a really funny thing of how it happened, because I have my coaching business in which I'm helping people experience more conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. And so I was making a training and I was promoting that training on a story. And so I made this story of like asking, in which I asked, who hasn't watched my training of the 3 phases you will go through to experience only conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships? By the way, if you haven't gone through that training, you can find it in the description below. But anyways, that being now that I said that, so I made that story a while ago, and this is how she outreached me. This is how we got in contact. And so from this was like 2 months ago or something, maybe a little more. And so this is how we got in contact. And I knew her from before that because like I knew she was like I had a vision of who I wanted to attract, and I knew she was like it felt, I intuitively felt that she's part of that vision, and so I was curious of wanting to get to know her better. And so here is the funny thing, here is the story that my mind created unconscious to me, that is actually, that was actually what is making her in a position in which she's not, in which I'm not making her it easy for her to open herself emotionally. So because she outreached me and she showed me that she liked me when I was like being an authority in my field, when I was offering a training and she wanted to check out that training. And this is how we first got into contact. And so since then, my mind assumed this story that I need to be an authority and I always need to be right. I always need to know more to make her like me. And so this is the belief, this is the story that my mind has created from the beginning of our interaction that is now inhibiting her from being emotionally open, from opening herself more emotionally, investing more in our potential relationship. And so I realized that by first becoming aware of the feeling that got triggered when she told me that this is what was pushing her away from me, that I was always being right. I was always too attached to like being right, to yeah, to being an authority, to always knowing better than the other person I'm talking with. And so this is what was pushing her away. And so I felt a little triggered because like I know that in most of my relationships I'm not like that. Like with my friends, with family members, with people whom I work, I am not like that. It's like it just happened in this romantic relationship that I'm exploring this behavior to be the case. So it was not something necessarily normal for me, but it reflected in this dynamic. And so the reason it reflected was because I attracted her through being an authority. And so my mind believed that I always need to be the authority. I always need to be right so that she likes me. And I was being attached to that story. And by investigating the feeling, then a couple of images appeared, like a couple of imaginary scenes that we experienced. And so by letting go of them and just focusing my awareness on the sensations in my body, this is how you let go essentially. And if you want to like understand this further, you can check out this video of how you can let go even when you think it feels impossible, in which you understand like how the practice of letting go ultimately works. But so by staying with this feeling, then I realized like my eyes started filling with tears. I started crying a little bit, releasing this emotional attachment to the story. This is how it happens when we let go. It always includes some form of emotional release. It can be through sweating, through crying, it can be through trembling a little. There are different ways, but it always includes some form of emotional release. So when I realized that, when I realized how I was attached to that story, like I dropped a couple of tears in like in so that I through them I forgave myself of being attached to that story. And so afterwards we had some really beautiful conversations with my specific person, and like she started opening herself up emotionally more and more. And this is something that is currently unfolding, like so it's like it should unfold even more and more the more I let go of that story. But this is how it works. Like this is the concept that I wanted to share through my story so that you understand it easier. And so the reason your specific person in your situation in your life, the reason they might not be up opening themselves up emotionally is because you hold within your mind a story of who you need to be to make them like you. And so if this is true, if this is the case, I want you to contemplate now with me so that you can practice this. Let's practice it together. So contemplate with me. What is the behavior? What could be the behavior or the story in your mind that you're attached to of who you need to be to make your specific person like you? This is the question I want you to answer. And so, see how you feel now. I'll ask it again. See how your body feels, because you won't find the answer in your mind. The answer will come from your body. So I'll ask this question once again in a moment and see how you feel. Something inside of you will feel triggered. And now I want you to remain there. And after finishing this video, it went in like 3 minutes or something. After finishing this video, stay with that sensation. Just stay with it and let it give you the answer. Because this answer can be the remedy that you're seeking to that situation, to resolve that situation of pushing your specific person away. pushing them, like keeping them at bay. So again, what story you're attached to of who you need to be when you're together with your specific person to make them like you? Who do you think you need to be to make your specific person like you? Now, can you feel what happens in your body? Because if you remain there, we won't do it now, but if you remain there after the end of the video, just stay with that feeling and like ask yourself this question again and again and see what you experience. Then after you experience it, after you're able to let it go, come back in the video and comment down below what has been your experience, because I know how this practice works, but I want to have your example so that more people can try this process and more people can benefit from it. So yeah, please, when you try it, come back to the video and comment down below what have been your experience, so that you understand that, so that you share your experience with others and you can also inspire them. And by the way, if you need further help with that, you can always schedule a free discovery session with me where we can do this process together. We can investigate some of your beliefs that are keeping your specific person at bay, or some of the beliefs that are making you attract destructive and non-healthy and unhealthy relationships. Again, we can do that in a discovery call. So if you want us to connect and do this process together, you can check out the training, the 3 phases you go through until you surround yourself only by conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. And by the end of that training, you'll see a link. So first you can register to it, watch it. It's like 2 hours long. And after you go through it, you'll see a calendar where you can schedule a free strategy session, a free discovery call where we can connect, talk with one another, and do some inner work together. So if you need my support, this is how you can get it. But that being the case, my friend, now stay with this feeling that just got triggered when I asked you this question, because again, through staying with that feeling, you'll get yourself the answer. And so this was everything I wanted to share with you in this video, that your story of who you need to be to make your specific person is what is keeping them at bay. You're not being authentic. You're not being fully genuinely yourself by being attached to that story. So it's almost like an emotional blackmail, it's almost like a form of manipulation. And when you let go of that story, then you experience what you want directly without creating a strategy of who you need to be to experience it. That being the case, my friend, let me know if you understood that concept. Like the video if you liked it. Comment down below once you go through that experience, once you try the process I suggested. Subscribe to the channel if you are new to it, because in this channel we'll be talking everything about how you can surround yourself by the best, most uplifting and supportive relationships with everybody in your life, like all the people. So if this is a value or like a vision you have of your life right now, and if this is something you share with me, subscribe to the channel and I would love to see you around where we can make that vision a reality. Thank you so much for watching and see you around in the channel. Bye bye for now. I love you.